Ladies and gentlemen, this is Kasper Klasra, Editor-in-Chief of the Islamabad Telegraph, and we are going to discuss the pros and cons of a limited war that were actually played between two nuclear armed South Asian, the neighbors. And let me tell you what happened on 10th of May earlier this month is a part of history. And let me tell you, when Pulwama attack happened in 2019, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi came with a clear perspective, and even he gave a befitting response to the United States of America that Kashmir was India's internal matter, and India has actually been playing this mantra for a long time, but followed by Pahalgam attack that was really unfortunate, no doubt about that. But one thing is for sure, that Pakistan came out of this tragedy as a clear winner. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you that Pakistan was the first country which actually asked the world that there must be investigation. India must hold impartial investigation. And even Pakistan, the first country which actually asked United States, requested United States and UK and the United Nations to conduct free and fair investigation into this Pahalgam attack. That was unfortunately and deliberately, rejected by the Indian side as well. So first thing. Secondly, India has been claiming for a long time that Kashmir was an internal matter. But ladies and gentlemen, after Pakistan initiated a retaliatory attack, then India was actually the country which approached the United States of America and then also the United Nations as well, first pleading that please stop Pakistan to further escalate the war. One thing, and secondly, that India partially agreed to hold an impartial investigation into this attack as well. Look, my point is that Pakistan came out of this limited war as a clear one. Why? Why? Let me tell you why. Let me explain why that Pakistan came out as a clear winner. First of all, Pakistan have been telling the world that Kashmir was not an internal matter. Actually, it was an internationalized, matter, and also actually Pakistan has been forcing the United Nations to resolve this matter because it was a matter that had the capacity of a flashpoint that could have ignited a nuclear war between two nuclear armed neighbors as well. One thing, the Pakistan successfully actually made the world realize that Kashmir was not internal matter of India. Actually, it was an international dispute, and United Nations has to intervene into it as well. Secondly, the second point is Pakistan's armed forces, even the people, including myself, we were not expecting the response that the Pakistan's forces initiated. I have been meeting my sources in Pakistan's military, and I have been attending the exclusive meetings with the Director General of ISPR for 3 times as well. Even we were not expecting such type of, even the Pakistan's top military brass have been asking us, have been actually convincing us that there will be a befitting response to Indian aggression, but we were not expecting to. Ladies and gentlemen, on the 10th of May, in the morning, when I got a text from one of my sources from Pakistan's armed forces, and I was speechless because the degree of the ferocity of the Pakistan's retaliation to Indian aggression was something that we were not expecting. They targeted, Pakistan armed forces targeted 20 high-profile targets of Pakistan of Indian military, and all were achieved with great precision. Even not only myself, but also the people, my sources there in United States, UK, and everywhere, they were not expecting such a response. And then, ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you that now the cat is out of the bag, and Indian side has actually acknowledged that some of its top of the line parts were actually done by the Pakistani force as well. This was something which made which stunned, which shocked the world, including United States, and also definitely the France was top of the list because Rafale was done on the very and very evening of the 10th of May. Pakistan's claim that the five Rafale have been done, but actually they were not five, but five top of the line Indian jets were done, including the Rafale as well. And that was perhaps the fact that the Rafale's market, the company that have been making Rafale, was top of the line jet, its share was dropped globally, and it was the second. And third, that is most important part when we discuss Pakistan's and India, the limited war as well, that Pakistanis, including myself, actually realized that they were living in a country which is fully safeguarded by the Pakistan's armed forces, and and including myself as well, that we realized that we are fortunate enough that our armed forces were capable of giving a befitting reply to a biggest state, the fourth economy, India. So it was the moment that we must be celebrating, and we have celebrated it as well. But one thing is for sure, that we are living in a country that is capable of safeguarding its sovereignty, and millions of the people, the residents of Pakistan as well. This is a proud moment, and we must be celebrating it. And lastly, we must be proud of our all-time, all-weather friend, that is China. Can you do you realize that the Pakistan's used Chinese technology to defeat French technology as well? Rafale were gunned on, and including not only the Rafale but also the Russian MiG and another top of the line jets were also done using the Chinese technology, Chinese jet and sea, and also the Chinese missiles as well. So it actually stamped on the superiority of the Chinese technology, and it was the fourth take. And on the basis of these four points, I can proudly say that Pakistan was the clear winner of this limited war. That was the fact that India is not in a position to even to discuss the war with Pakistani side as well. Ladies and gentlemen, this was all about today's vlog, today's broadcast, and I'm sure that the Pakistani, where you are at the moment watching our program, you must be proud enough of your civilian leadership, that which actually had the courage to give green signal to armed forces to retaliate in a manner that the world have never expected of Pakistan armed forces. And secondly, you must be proud of your armed forces, including the Army, Air Force and Navy as well, because it was a giant operation, Navy coordination between Navy, Army and the Pakistan's Air Force actually made this retaliatory attack possible. And I'm sure that India will not be able in a position to even think about attacking Pakistani side for the hundreds of years that have. Kasper Klasa for the Istanbul Telegram.